Welcome back. Now I'm still working on with the same colors that I was working before. You can see I've added in some white in some of the places. A couple of little plants made their way in, another one of the narcissus pods. A few extra marks, things like that. Leaves are starting to come in as well. I highlighted a little bit of her face and around the oval. So things are starting to come together piece by piece. Right now I'm filling in this little area here and just spreading out some of the lighter turquoise that isn't like super light, but it's light-ish. And I'm just starting at the bottom and pulling it up. I've sprayed the canvas a little bit, not a lot. And I'm just starting at the bottom and pulling it up till it fades away. And this is how you start to achieve your final layers of your painting. Now you're into the colors that you really want to see on your canvas at the end. The most of. You can have lots of yellows and lots of oranges and things like that peeking through. But whatever is the majority of the color on your canvas, like turquoises or whatever else, that's what your eye is going to be drawn to. So that's what your mind will actually see the painting as being that color. So even if you have oranges and reds and things peeking through from other layers and pinks and such, then you're still going to mostly see it as a calming, mainly turquoise painting, just because that's the way the mind will actually interpret it. So I'm still going through and accenting some of the details. I think you might need an eye. And again, it doesn't have to look like an actual dove. It's just a hint of a bird. Something that makes you happy. It's all very loose still. There's no... You want to try and keep all the way to the end without doing too much in the way of control. And just keep working your colors. Keep working into those areas that feel really beautiful and interesting to you. And just keep following your brush. No matter how far along in this process you get, you can never screw it up. As long as you just keep it loose, keep in mind that none of it is forever. You can change anything at any time. And I keep going back to other areas that I've already painted and adding a little layer of some other color. And that's what gives the paintings their depth. It's not only the layers that we've put underneath, but the layers that end up being on top. It gives it its peace and its depth, and its interest in the end. As does the talking puppy, which is quite fun. I know, right? Stuff being a fluff. And I still have no idea what is going on with this cocoon thing. I feel like I want to go over the lines of the turquoise, but that really puts him way back in the painting now. So I don't know. Maybe. Might bring it out again. We'll see. And for some reason, these little dashes and things came in. I don't know what they're all about, but They're quite interesting. Another leaf feels like it's here. And the leaves can be any shape you like. These are just the leaves that tend to appear in my inner landscape. They tend to be very abstract. They're not like the leaf of a specific plant generally. I think the most specific I've ever gotten is the narcissus pods. I think there was a pine cone once in another painting that I did. That was pretty specific too. And you can see they don't have to be real colors of any kind. I'm just really loving these turquoises, so I'm just bringing them in anywhere that feels good. Some places I'm filling in completely, some places I'm putting a little bit of it and then spreading it out so that some of the color in behind still shows through. But I'm really feeling these turquoises. There's something really soothing about them to me right now, so I am working with what feels really good. And you can see I'm going not right over top of the white, but just in beside, and what that'll do is give me all three shades that I'm really enjoying here. And I might just keep going this way a little bit to draw it out that way. And all of this is just very loose. It's very unplanned still. Even at this point, it's still unplanned. I'm just going around the canvas and seeing what I like, what I don't like, what I want to cover over, what might interest me more if I change its color a little bit. What feels physically and emotionally good, basically. I never thought that I was going to actually go over this one, the line in this one. But this, for some reason, is feeling really good, and it feels like it integrates the way that feels somehow. Again, it's hard to explain because you are painting with feelings. You're painting with how the feelings feel as opposed to with a plan. So when your brush does a stroke that you think is neat, it's very difficult to explain why it feels so good. It just feels so good. And I'm using another one of those little flat brushes, and I'm just going through and picking out places that feel like they could use a little bit of definition that isn't necessarily actually definition. It's just like, to me, that line around that squiggle with the softness of those colors, it almost represents taking that chaotic thought pattern and holding it gently and being more gentle with myself about how I felt in that moment. It's such a turquoisey turquoise. I think that's part of why I like it. It's really bright. It's one of my favorite turquoises. It's just a fantastic color. Super cheerful. Probably why I like it so much. Makes me feel good. I'm just caressing along her back with that color. You can see how it all starts to tie together, even though the colors make no sense together. They make sense in context after a certain point. I want to bring some of this color up here. So I'm just going to do a couple of little, and just like I did with the white, I'm just feeling where that feels good. These feel like they need to be in 5s, so that's what I'm doing. No explanation for why they feel like they need to be in 5s. They just do. I'm just following my brush around the painting, seeing where it wants to go. That's why you see me looking all over the painting, because I literally will look and then my hand will find its way to a spot. And that's quite literally how it works. If you trust your intuition, it'll just lead you to different spots around the painting. And it's hard. We're told not to trust our intuition so much. So at first it tends to be quite a difficult thing to do. But eventually it works out. These dry now. You dry almost. It's a bit chilly in here in the studio, so it tends to take a little longer to dry. I'm gonna be brave and see if I can't do that darkening that I wanted to do. I'm just gonna go right in here. Just pull that all down. I'm gonna go even darker with the sky as well afterwards. So it's gonna be all the way down. I'm just pulling it as far as feels good, because I have a sneaking suspicion that this is going to be a moon or something. So I'm probably going to be a little darker on this side, I think, away from where the moon is. But again, I have no idea if it's going to be a moon. It just kind of feels that way in the context of what else is going on in that particular area. Yeah, he does feel like he's going to come back again. Okay. So we shall see what happens with that then. I'm feeling like I want another layer of pink again too, which is really weird. I have no explanation for that either. But it feels like there wants to be pink again at some point. And I don't really know what that's all about, but I'm happy to explore it. And this isn't necessarily getting covered over, it's still staying, but it just feels like it needed to be softened a little bit. I really feel now that little egg that I loved so much on the bottom is almost bothering me. It's like he's too much down there. So I'm not going to cover over him, but I am going to tone him back a little bit. He needs to chill out, I think, just a little. And then I'll revisit him again after. Not sure why, he just felt like he had a lot going on for some reason. I think I'm going to pull in some more of this really light yellow again too, because I really like that. So I might pull it in somewhere as well. And this is where you'll start noticing that you'll start getting particular cravings for really specific colors. It'll end up being certain things that will really draw your attention, certain areas of the painting, certain colors on the painting that you might want more of or less of, depending. Some of them you might want to get rid of. I've had some colors and I'm like, no. And then I'll just go in and slowly phase them out. There's nothing wrong with that at all. And feel like this. This feels like a darker fade to me somehow. So I'm just going to go in here with the darker turquoise and give that a little bit of a darker contour so that ripple feels like it's set back in there a little bit, because that feels nice to me. And I'm going to do the same thing with part of this here. Part of this circle is going to go back a little. Not all of it, just some. Just going to make it feel like it's has some depth to it and a little bit less going on. This is where you kind of start looking at your painting as a whole, and not only paying attention to the symbolism and what's going on, but also aesthetically what's happening in the painting. This is when you start kind of, if I wasn't sitting in a chair, I'd be stepping back frequently away from the painting to have a look at it from a distance to get a really good feel for what I like, what I don't like, what needs to be edited out. But I'm still having arguments with my calf, so it and I will just sit here in this little chair here and paint. Actually feels really strange for me to sit and paint. But I kind of like where this is going. Really feeling like I need to get up in that corner somehow. Up here feels funny. Like there's too much of something going on, but I don't know what. So I'm just going to narrow it down a little bit with some of the turquoise, which I'll let just sort of fade out on its own. I think that's it for this particular stage. I'm going to wait for it to dry a little bit. And then I'm going to go back in and start working out the actual details. So when we come back, we're going to start working on the final sections of our painting. So if you want to go and work with your journal after you've finished painting, take as much time as you need with this. Don't rush it. It could take you a while. It's a beautiful process, but it can take a while to really sit with it and feel it and just nourish the painting, nourish yourself at the same time. Feel into what's going on. And when we come back, then we'll start getting into the final parts of our painting. So, see you soon.